Hey guys, welcome to Ace TCG, and in today's video we are going to be taking a look at a LordKnightmon deck profile. Now this LordKnightmon deck profile is actually running the Mastemon alongside it too. There is another LordKnightmon deck profile that's going around a little bit with Slash as well. They are very similar like in the terms of things, but I'll get into that more in the video. Enjoy. I forgot to mention that below is the list of the thing. I gab on for like 25 minutes about different cards, so if you don't want to sit and learn things that you may not need to know about little like interactions with the deck, just look at the list below and save yourself 25 minutes if you don't want to look at my face. Alrighty, so let's actually get into the list that I have read. So we'll start with the Digitama, the babies, which are on the right, and I'm still using these sleeves that I managed to pick up. I can't remember the exact set that they came from, but I got these from online and from eBay with some help of some friends helping me find them. So yeah, let's have a look. We're running 5 Digitama, so 5 babies in this list, 4 of them being Pickmon, and 1 of them being Koromon. So we'll take a look at Pickmon first. So Pickmon is a very nice card because it has the very simple inheritable ability of when attacking, if you have 3 or more Digimon, one of your opponent's Digimon gets -1000, and this is very critical because in our deck we have ways to be able to do -4000 by the likes of Knightmon and WarGrowlmon in the form of our ultimates. And being able to get that additional -1000 when attacking means that you're able to kill the 5000 DP blockers when you're swinging, which is, it happens a lot of times, so that -1000 is very useful. Next, we are running the Koromon, as I mentioned. Now, this slot can be open for pretty much anything. There is the Uppermon that is used here, I believe. Is it Uppermon? Maybe. Yeah, I'm going to go with the Uppermon. I'll put it on screen now. If I got the name wrong, I got the name wrong. A yellow player, I should know this. But yeah, I decided to run the Koromon like a lot of lists have for the very same reason that we're running the Pickmon. Koromon has a very similar ability to do a -1 inheritable. It just has a different way for you to be able to get that. So its inheritable is similar to the when attacking, once per turn, if you have 3 or fewer security cards, one of your opponent's Digimon gets -1000 DP for the turn. So like I said, very similar to the Pickmon, but it's more based on how much security you actually have. Pickmon comes up a lot more because we flood the board a little more with some of the summoning abilities that we have in the form of LordKnightmon. So definitely the more consistent one being Pickmon, but the Koromon, we actually don't complain usually when it comes up. Next up, we're going to look at the main deck. We are running the rookies now, and of course we're running the Pulsemons. Pulsemon is just absolutely ridiculous, and it's just shown how even more ridiculous it is with how much is actually being used in yellow decks. So it's at least a 3 of in pretty much every yellow deck that I have seen, not only on YouTube but in tournament lists too. And for the majority of those, it is ran at 4, and the reason for that is just because of how much consistency that it helps when you are stuck in situations, and just in general because it has the amazing effect of on play, if you have 3 or more security cards, you trigger draw 1 card, and then additionally if you have 3 or less security, you gain 1 memory instead. And what's perfect about this is because if you are on the perfect line of 3 security, you are able to get both of those effects off on play, so you're able to draw a card and gain a memory. And this card actually works perfectly in tandem because we're actually running Mastemon in this list, which allows you to allows you to play a rookie from your trash. And when you do that, it means it turns, because you gain that memory, you turn your Mastemon into a 4 cost to a 3 cost, meaning that it would still be your turn in an ideal world. Still, just an absolutely fantastic card, and if you haven't already got a playset of these, I'm very sorry, because the price on this card is extremely high. It is going to get a reprint with an altar eventually in the future. Whether that's going to help with pricing, sometimes it does, but sometimes it genuinely just doesn't. So hopefully they'll throw one in there for people who are still struggling to get this card. I know there was an issue with pre-releases, UK side, and I think Europe side too. I'm not too sure NA, where with the release of the Pulsemons, because they were from the sneak peeks. But yeah, not too sure. Next up, we are running Starmon, and I'm running 4 Starmon because this card is absolutely bonkers. This card is just ridiculously good. There's even been decks that are running additional Starmons and the options card that allows you to run the Starmon just because of how amazing this card really is. But 4 is definitely really fantastic. It has the amazing on-play effect of, for each Digimon that you have in play, one of your opponent's Digimon gets -1000 DP for the turn. Now, if you have 2 or 3 of your Digimon out and then you hard play the Starmon, this could be enough to finish off the DP of a bigger thing if you've minus some other things using some of your other cards, like I mentioned earlier, like the Knightmon, your babies, just your ultimate line in general can do some minusing. And then the Starmon is just super nice. But what is a very useful play with this is attacking your opponent's Digimon with your LordKnightmon, and then using the LordKnightmon effect to call the Starmon and minus the card that you're attacking in DP, so that your LordKnightmon's able to smash over it without having to do the trade. And trades like that can be super, super valuable in this deck. So definitely watch out for that. Definitely watch out when playing against this deck, because if you have a rest Digimon and they can go into a Lord, either they're going to call stuff, play stuff so that they will gain additional power because of LordKnightmon's effect and smash over your stuff, or they have so many different ways to minus DP just by playing either the rookie or their Knightmon. So definitely watch out for that. Be very critical when deciding what to play and when to play things against the deck. Next up, I'm running 3 BushiAgumon. So in a lot of lists, I've seen that they're running 4 of this, and it makes sense because it's a super, super nice card, and it's really can catch your opponent off guard, and it can really steal games and add a lot of pressure. But I'm still hit and miss on it sometimes. I feel like when I need it and I have it, amen. But outside of that, it's a 5 play cost rookie that ends my turn, so the rush ability will not bother me anyway. And in testing, 3 has been perfectly fine for me, so I'm going to keep it at 3 for now. I'm pretty happy with that, to be fair. Yeah. Pretty ridiculous card. Like I said, if you don't know what this does, it's just a rookie that has the rush ability, but this is important because you can play your rookies with your megas for free, so you can bring this out and then swing with it in the same turn that you're playing with it, and that can add a lot of pressure, or it can help finish off your games if you play against anything that you've done a big dent into. Next up, we're running my favourite card for yellow. We're running the 2 Patamons, so the memory Patamons that are actually ran from the yellow starter deck. So this Patamon is just super duper nice. It has the inheritable effect of when one of your opponent's Digimon is deleted by dropping to 0 DP, you gain 1 memory, which is just really, really cool. Being able to gain that memory is super, super necessary in this deck. There are quite a few really cool plays that you can do with the Patamon. As I mentioned earlier with the Mastemon play, because it's a 4 play cost, you always want to try and find a way to actually make sure that you can gain a memory when you're playing that Mastemon. So if you go into Mastemon and you have this in the stack and you call a Starmon and kill something, it's still going to be your turn, so you're still going to be on 3, and you've trashed one of your opponent's security. So it means that you're actually able to then possibly swing for gain, possibly swing for a bigger dent, or go into something else and just give you more options. So a lot of the plays that will be there is go into that call a Starmon, kill something, gain your memory, and then you could, for example, go into a blocker if you need to be able to have a little bit more of that survivability, especially if you just Mastermon and self-damaged. And finishing off our rookies, I'm running 2 Kotemon. Now, I know what you might be thinking, where are your lucymons? And I own 4 alt arts. It's not that I don't own them. I've just tested this so much, and every single time I get the lucymon early game, and I feel it, and I'm just like, it just feels gross. Like having it in hand, it's a 13 cost rookie, which you really just never want to have to pay that. And even sometimes late game, when you've pushed through and managed to have those 10 cards in your trash to make it a 5 play cost, you don't often want to be playing it for 5. So the only ideal situation that you're going to be doing it is when you are either in a LordKnightmon or you're calling it back with a Mastemon. And the situations that I found myself in is that I'd usually want to either call a Pulsemon, a Starmon, or a Bushi in those scenarios, because it's either going to be removal, memory and draw, or trying to finish the game. And calling the lucymon just seems very counterintuitive for what I wanted to be doing with the deck, which is pushing my opponent a lot, gaining value from drawing, or removing very annoying pieces that I want to get rid of. Now, the lucymon can be very annoying for your opponent to have to get rid of because it's 11,000, but with so much removal right now in the meta, I just think that it's not particularly needed right now. Don't get me wrong, if you run one, definitely run one. Most lists are running one of the lucymon. I just really don't like it early game, where I'd rather have a rookie that I can digivolve on top of my babies and help me get out there, because I was finding that running the Mastemons too, it can be a bit bricky. But Kotemon helps a lot with brick. So yeah, looking at Kotemon, I absolutely love this card. I think it's very, very nice. My only downside of this card is it's actually a reptile, so it kind of goes against its own ability. And that ability is a really nice search effect of on play, reveal 5 cards from the top of your deck, add up to 2 yellow Digimon with Warrior or Holy Warrior in their types from among them to your hand, and then you place the remaining at the bottom of your deck. Now this is super cool because if you hit a double with this, so you hit a Knightmon and a LordKnightmon in this, you scream an insane value. But a lot of the situations is I'll look at the top 5, and if I hit anything, any of my warriors, then that's just added value and super useful for me. The deck can be super, super bricky at times. This is like a more consistent kind of version of it, because we're not running the likes of the additional carry and stuff like that, like you would normally in a Mastemon like list. But it still can be clunky. So being able to have the search abilities of the Kotemon is super, super useful. Next up, we're going to take a look at the Piddomons. I'm starting to say Piddomon a little bit more because I don't want to say Pido, to be completely honest with you. So this is just the 1 Digivolve cost blockers that we're running in the list. We're still running 4 of this. But additionally, for blockers, I'm also running the 2 Unimon. I'm running 6 blockers in my list. And I think it's super, super cool. The reason that I'm running so many blockers more than anything is because these blockers right now just don't feel useful as a blocker in the current meta. They are very vulnerable to Chaosmon, very vulnerable to Nidhogg, very vulnerable to Purple Chaos. That everything is vulnerable to that level 5 or lower. But also very, very vulnerable to LordKnightmon. Just like I mentioned before with the earlier plays, being able to do 4k and then 1k just kills the blocker. Really super annoying. And also additionally for this, Rookie Rush. Most of the rookies that Rookie Rush are playing are 5k beta rookies, so having to trade with your Piddomon is not ideal. So I'm running the 2 Unimon to be able to get that additional value to be able to try and stop those scenarios. Really good, really, really nice. That was probably more of an analysis than you need. This is not ground baking. A lot of people are running 4 and 2 when it comes to blockers in the current meta because of that reason, but I thought the explanation might be helpful. And to finish off our champions, I am actually running Turuiemon. Not to finish off, sorry. Oh, I completely forgot. I'm being good, and I'm not just running 10 champions for once, which I super duper frustrate myself with. But yeah, I'm running the Turuiemon. Turuiemon is just a vanilla 6000 DP champion, but the reason we're running it is because it has that 1 Digivolve cost, which is super nice and super consistent. Really helps you be able to climb into your higher levels more memory efficiently. Yeah, that's what I'm going to go with. Super, super nice card. Definitely still like 4 of it in the list. You could probably cut 1 and then run 1 more of the next card I'm running, being the Gladimon. But I think everyone who's playing LordKnightmon just goes when they think of the idea of Gladimon, because I super like it because it's a warrior, it's a champion, so if I search it with the likes of my Kotemon, I have a chance to be able to grab this, which is super duper nice. But its effect is on play, which all in all is the issue right there. You may search your security stack for 1 Digimon card with Warrior or Holy Warrior in its name, reveal it, add it to your hand, and if you do, you trigger recovery +1, and then you shuffle your security, even if you do or don't get it. So it's quite inconsistent, is the downside of this. When you hit with this card, it feels amazing. It's a +1. That's not only a draw, but it's a targeted draw where you're going to be drawing always a key piece. You always want a Knightmon or a LordKnightmon in your hand, and that's nice. The downside of this, and the same way that it is with a Kotemon's a reptile, so you can't grab a rookie using this effect, and you just hardly ever hit this. You usually are on 5 or lower security, so the chances of you actually hitting one is quite low. The only way that you're going to know for sure is if you go into a TK, so you go into your team first to be able to see if you already have those cards there, and then you're not risking just hard playing a champion on a whim, really. So I think this is good. I like the 1. Definitely enjoy the 1 because when it comes up, and it's super nice. But yeah, we're running 11 champions, and I'm still so on that. I like 12. I have used 12 for a little bit of a time, but I think 11 is okay. With the amount that you can actually draw in this deck, I don't think you're punished as much for that. I think you just need to be a bit more sparing about how you use them. Next up, we'll take a look at our ultimates, and I'm running 4 Knightmon. Knightmon is a super nice card, and this is the main way that I was talking about that you can do that -4000 to be able to kill your opponent's 1 Digivolve cost blockers. So Knightmon is super duper nice because it has the on-play effect of one of your opponent's Digimon gets -4000 DP for the turn. Now this may not seem strong in the terms of things because it's just a one singular targeted minus DP, but for an on-play of 7 for an ultimate, well, LordKnightmon gets around that. LordKnightmon is able to play a warrior from hand, and Knightmon is a warrior. LordKnightmon can play a warrior for free, I should say, sorry. So being able to play this for free and then go into a Mastemon or into another LordKnightmon as well on top of this is super crazy. And it's pretty darn broken, to be completely honest. Being able to swing with quite a beefy, usually LordKnightmon, and then additionally get to summon there, play this. I keep saying that, I don't know, I've been playing a little bit of Duel Links, I think that's where that's coming from. But yeah, you get to play this, and yeah, it's just absolutely bonkers. There's not really much more to say. Definitely running 4 of this. If I see any list with 3 in this, I will cry a little bit. 4 is pretty much mandatory at this point. Next up, we are running WarGrowlmon. So WarGrowlmon, again, in the same reason that the Knightmon is crazy, WarGrowlmon is crazy because you can do this but digivolving. So WarGrowlmon has the main Digiburst 2 effect of one of your opponent's Digimon gets -4000 DP for the turn. Now this is super good because it means that you don't have to rely on hard playing or playing the Knightmon from the LordKnightmon effect. And you can just go into WarGrowlmon first and then go into your LordKnightmon, which means that you're not as heavily relying on having to have that Knightmon, and having 2 options to be able to do that is super tasty. So definitely enjoy the 3 of that. And to finish off for ultimates, I'm running 2 of the card that everyone has screamed since last set to get limited, which is Angewomon. Limited or banned even, I've heard people saying. But I don't know if it needs it, to be completely honest with you, but I'm a yellow player, so of course I'm going to say that. So Angewomon is really darn good, to be completely honest. It has the when Digivolving effect of one of your opponent's Digimon gains -2 security checks, which can completely shut down any deck that's building just a tower, one big stack, and stop them from being able to like swing for many security, which is a good way to be able to slow down Shoutmon if you're in a very tight situation. But you do have to be, like, of course, in that matchup you have to be wary too that they can attack your stud Digimon, so you need to be aware of that. But the reason that this card is super nutty is because it has the inherited effect of, when attacking, not once per turn, which when you're playing WarGrowlmon, which we aren't on this list, but when you are, that comes up. When attacking, if you have 3 of your security cards, you may play 1 yellow level 3 Digimon card from your hand without paying it to memory cost. Disgusting. Absolutely, like, nutty beyond nutty. And the reason we're only running 2 is because it doesn't always come up, and because we already have a mega that allows us to play, Nelly said summon, allows us to play our level 3s, so we don't want this all of the time, but when we do want this, and when it comes up, absolutely filth, because you can swing with LordKnightmon, use LordKnightmon's effect to play a rookie or a warrior, and then use the Angewomon effect to play a Starmon or play a Bushi. I've had many times where I'll go LordKnightmon swings with the Angewomon underneath, play a Bushi, and then use Angewomon effect to play a Bushi. So damage from the LordKnightmon, and then swing a Bushi game. And my opponent's like, what? What is going on here? So yeah, super nice card. And so some people might have the argument of why not 2 WarGrowl and 3 Angewomon. I've seen some lists like that, but I just think this is more consistent. I think more lists from what I've seen are running this more off. I've seen some with just 2, and that's fine. I kind of like 9 ultimates. I think it's quite important to go into them. Of course I think that. Everyone thinks that. But yeah, next up we have the main absolutely bonkers card itself, LordKnightmon. And I just want to say the event pack, LordKnightmon Alt Art, has just started hitting the markets a little bit NA, and I think one sold for like $200 before, and it makes me want to cry a little bit inside. But yeah, LordKnightmon is just super fantastic. It has an amazing when attacking effect of, you may play a yellow level 3 Digimon card or yellow 3 Digimon with Digimon card with Warrior in its card type without paying its memory cost. So you can play any of your rookies, you can play your Gladimon, your Knightmons, and just absolutely make your opponent want to cry a little bit, which is always nice. And then it also has a really, really just additionally strong effect for no reason at all. The reason that's not at all is the fact that this effect is all turns, which is just ridiculous. And the first time I didn't know this before we actually got the card, and then my friend was like, oh yeah, it's all turns, so he couldn't even attack my Digimon. I was like, what? It has the all turns effect of, for each other Digimon you have in play, this Digimon gains plus 1000 DP, which is not okay. that's terrifying to actually think about. With a card that allows you to play other cards for free, then you give it a DP boost on all turns. That means that your opponent's going to have something rather beefy or some nice removal to be able to remove this card. So it's good. It gives yellow that sustainability that we've been looking for in a mega, because usually we swing with WarGrowlmon, and if it's rested, it's 11k and everything else is 12 or 13 because small DP make go burr. But that additional survivability on the LordKnightmon is just scary. And also, for a laugh, you can just swing into your opponent's Digimon anyway, if you have a wide board, and just remove it, which is always nice to attack an Omnimon with a level 6 Mega. And next up, I'm running the 3 Mastemon. So this is actually a change I have just made. I was trying the list that Mario made, so you should definitely check out Mario's list. Mario's pretty good, and he's topped quite a few events, so... And after watching a lot of videos, a lot of people were like, oh, maybe I switch to the Mastemon. And a lot of people were like, I kind of love the aggression on the Mastemon. And I go back and forth on this. I really like Slash. I'm comfortable with Slash, and I'm used to Slash. So this is new territory for me, because this is more aggressive. And I think that's kind of what this deck needs to play like. We already have forms of removal to remove blockers, and being able to play other cards that push aggression is always good. So if you don't know what Mastemon does, it has the when Digivolving effect of... trash one card from the top of not only your security stack but your opponent's security stack, and then you can play one purple or yellow Digimon card with a level 4 or lower from your trash without paying its memory cost. So this is good because you can use this offensively and defensively if you need to. And you may be thinking, why would I want to play this defensively when it self-damages? But you can call a blocker, and in some matchups, that's very important. If you're playing against anything that swings with a lot of security attack, having a blocker to deal for 1 can sometimes be like that clutch, being able to block one of the damages instead of taking 3, and then your security just getting wiped out anyway, is very, very useful. But a play that happens a lot with this is you play the Bushi, you play the Pulsemon, and you're able to get a card out for free while damaging your opponent, and then you can swing with them. This can be game a lot of the times if you go into this when your opponent is on only 1 security, and then you trash that security, so no matter what it is, it's not activating, and then you can just swing. Now, the downside of this card is it's a 4 Digivolve cost, so you have to have ways to be able to gain that memory back. And that's why we mentioned the Patamon and the Pulsemon being able to give you a memory either when you trash something. So the play that I mentioned earlier is you go into the Mastemon, you can play a Starmon from your drop that will kill a rookie or kill anything, and then the Patamon in your inheritables will give you a memory back, so it'd still be your turn if you are on 3 memory, or if you are on 3 or less security, being able to play the Pulsemon gives you 1 memory, so it would still be your turn and you're pushing hecka damage to your opponent. You can go back and forth. I think this right now, in the current how the meta is going and how much damage you need to push out with the likes of Security Control 2, this is kind of necessary. But the Slash, and Slash is always going to be a fantastic card. Being able to Slash and then just attack an Omnimon is actually quite important. But definitely like the Mastemon on this list. Finishing off our Digimon, we are running 2 Chaosmon Valdur. So I played the regionals recently, and I made the mistake of running 4 level 7s in this deck, not taking into account how bricky it is. Not that running the 4 is necessarily bad. Mario's list runs 2 of this and 2 Zord Defeat. Zord Defeat is absolutely bonkers, by the way, so I understand that. But I like more room for my other stuff, and I think just the Valdur is good for me. I don't think I'm going to use the Mastemon too much as just to go into and then want to go into something else. I want to be going into that LordKnightmon and then going into the Mastemon as a finisher. So Valdur is really, really crazy because it can go on top of a green or a yellow. Of course, we're going to go on top of a yellow here, but it has the when Digivolving effect of activate the following effect twice, and that effect is one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 7,000 DP, and you activate that twice, so it means that you can do 14,000 DP reduction in the form of one card. Now, being able to kill 2 ultimates, for example, is super redonkulous, or just being able to go into a Valdur arms and kill your opponent's Mega is also pretty darn nice. But it has a nice on-deletion effect also of gain 3 memory, which means that if your opponent attacks it, it's usually going to end the turn, which, yeah, pretty good. So we definitely like the 2 Valdur arms still. Next up, we're running some options cards, of course. We're running 3 Blinding Ray. So this card is super good, but right now in the meta, there are some rookies that stop you from gaining memory, and purple is absolutely milking as much of that as they possibly can. So you need to watch out for that, but it's a super fantastic options card with the 0 cost, and the main effect of trash the top card of your security stack, and then you gain 2 memory. This is another way that you can go into the Mastemon without ending your turn. And additionally, just self-damages so that other things like your Pulsemon are gaining the draw and the memory faster, and that Angewomon effect is going to go off if you have it underneath your stack. I like 3 of this. I just think it's super crucial. If you don't have your timer out, it's putting you to 3 memory just by this effect at least, which is definitely what you need to be doing to go into an ultimate or a LordKnightmon. So definitely at first I was like, and then a friend talked me definitely into understanding the Blinding Ray. So yeah, thanks for that. And next, I was on the fence at this, but I think this card is so nutty that it has to be run. Spiral Masquerade. This is a 4 play cost option that we just got in BT5, and it has the main effect of, for each Digimon you have in play, activate the effect below. One of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 3,000 DP for the turn. Now, this also has that security effect of activate this card's main effect, and the reason I just fit this in and had to find room for this, I was testing for so long without this, is all I hear every time I talk to someone about their matchup with LordKnightmon, or I talk to just people in locals, or I watch YouTube videos on the deck, because I absolutely love yellow, I like to watch as many as I can, is I lost to Spiral Masquerade, and that is terrifying as a yellow player and not running it, and I think that's something that I didn't understand the value of, but I definitely do now. I think this is a super nice splash of card, and I think it's ridiculous, and the artwork is absolutely fantastic, so I'm gonna try and fork the one in there. Really nice card. And then finishing the list, and finally, thank you to Paul from Team Crit Hit. I was finally able to get some of the alt art TKs. It's finally happened, but here it is. So TK is a 4 play cost rookie with the start of your turn effect of, if you have 2 or less memory, set your memories to 3. And the on play effect of, you can look at your security stack and then reveal 1 card in it, add it to your hand, and if that card's yellow, you trigger recovery +1 and then shuffle your security. Super nice to be able to look through all of your cards and be able to draw what you want. And additionally, it means that you are... one thing that you really need to worry, all that's on my mind, all that's screaming is, this is a purple card and this is a white card. If you get either of these, you self-damage, you don't recover. So definitely watch out for that. Super nice to add a card to hand. It can be a piece that you really need, and it can also give you that 3 memory that you want every single turn. It also has the security effect of play this card without paying its memory cost, which is nice and free. Who doesn't love free stuff? But yeah, that is my LordKnightmon deck profile. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments what your favorite deck of BT5 is and what you're having the most fun with. Sorry that the video went on for so long. I just think some of these cards really need an explanation. I hope you have a fantastic day, and thanks for watching my video. Thanks.